the introduction to big data and what are the modules available in Hadoop. And then when we are doing the practical session, we'll be explaining each and every module in detail. Instead of repeating, we want to make it like that. If time permits, I can also explain it. Okay. One class for explanation and then we can proceed with practical, because practically you should know how to analyze the data for a particular problem or any application we have to take. That is the motive. So waiting for the students only 15 minutes. Okay, this is MTech. I think we can go for it. So I have copied these pictures and many of the things from the Google only and integrated. So thanks for courtesy for those people. Many links have been integrated for the pictures and for everything, because we don't have proper books or something like that with data. We were doing it. Different books, different website, different things. They consider different modules of the software. So I consolidated everything, what is required for your class and the knowledge of the data. That is enough for software. And then with this basic knowledge, you can explore further for any project or something. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to record it. Yeah. Let me ask you something. Already we have discussed about what is data and what is data type, what is data representation, what is data structure, what is database, what is database management system, what is data warehouse, what is data mining, and then now because boundaries are available for traditional data till database management system, relational database management system. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No problem. Can I proceed?
Ma'am, but your voice is breaking.
Why is this?
Breaking, ma'am.
Oh,
It's not clear that much.
not clear. Let me go closer to the mic. To the video. Now can you hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Let us go for it then. So basically, data is available. Initially, we were able to process the data, store the data, because the data was produced and generated in a way. The growth of the data is not much faster as it is today. So we were able to do slowly. The technology also advances in that direction, and we were able to do storing the data as well as processing the data. But now we used to see that data for a month, for a year to accumulate, and then we were thinking that within a year we can process it and give the result. Then it is reduced to month and in terms of day. But today, in a second, you want to process the data in a second, and it produces, if you process 1 GB of data in a second, it produces 100 millions of data within a second. So we do not know what data is produced, where it is stored, how to store it, and what is the purpose of storing the data. Once you store it, there is availability of storage. You know, the problem is only storing of data. Storage is the most important thing. Once the storage is off, assume that storage is also done. How you will process the data? Why we need processing? Only by processing the data, you will know what is inside of the data or any information you require out of data. With that information, you can get the knowledge. Once you get the knowledge, you can decide. Decision can be taken for business, for education, anything. Netflix, Facebook, Twitter, whatnot. So what is the purpose of data? If you're not doing all these things, what is the purpose of data? That question arises now, not with the computer science people. Everyone in the world is considering data, data, data. Now this big data. So it has become big data, it has big headache now. Big data has to be accumulated somewhere, stored somewhere. That is the first criteria need to be solved. Second criteria is that why we want to store the data, to process the data, to, as I told you, to get the information out of it, knowledge from the knowledge, to make any decision. So whatever you say, so far whatever the tools, analytical tools, and whatever the techniques we have, whatever the algorithm we have, whatever the traditional system we have, it is not adequate to accumulate the data and process the data. So we are looking for the alternative. Before getting to the stream, data is huge now. And what do you mean by data analytics? Any analytics, not big data analytics, any data analytics, we use some technology or techniques to analyze, organize, and get a new information. We say this analysis is a business intelligence. We are always using this business intelligence. What is business intelligence? We see if any software, any tool, any technique is available, answer to the queries, basic queries about the enterprise, about the data available in any concern, and the output of the query should be business operation, performance, or decision. This technique we have so far to handle the data and analysis part. We call this as the data analytics. Any analysis of data, we call it as the data analytics, and we have this business intelligence. Now, since the huge data is generated and its growth is exponential, we want to have an alternative, that is advanced analytics is required. That should be a data-driven decision. It should be data-driven decision, so that we can improve the business-related outcomes. For that, we are going to have big data analytics. That is the requirement actually, big data analytics. To be very frank, to compare the business intelligence and big data analytics or advanced analytics, if you say, we can say that in business intelligence we will be talking about what happened to the data, when, where it is stored, who, how many. These questions will be arise in the business intelligence. Whereas in advanced technique analytics, it is not like that. It will ask instead of what happened. It will say, why did it happen? Why did that happen? Then when will it happen again? So sometimes if you ask, what will happen if we change this? What else does the data will give you? Or some information pattern which is not thought of so far. Or statistical or quantitative information it may give. These all things are outcome of the analytic, advanced analytics. Whereas in business intelligence, what you are asking, it will be answer to the question. That is what happened, when, who, how many. These questions can be asked, they can reply, but not in advanced analytics. And also, if you see business intelligence, it will only give the report and alerting symptom messages give, some dashboards or scorecards, something like that. Operational and real-time ad hoc queries, all this can be done using the business intelligence. Whereas not in advanced analytics uses the technique, and it is not only for giving the report, but it gives data mining results, predictive modeling, multivariate testing, big data analytics, text analytics, text mining, machine learning, whatnot. These are all put together, the difference of business intelligence. That is the reason we are looking for the advanced analytics. So let us see what is big data, what is the characteristics of big data, all those things. Once we come to know that, we'll go for the software which is popularly used for the big data. Only one software we are going to see. In fact, we are using many. Now, many tools have come for big data. But to be the basic, we are introducing the Hadoop. You can explore data. Shall I? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In that case, we'll go for the next. You are able to see the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going for it. Now, the agenda of the class, actually what we are going to discuss today is the big data driving factors. Which things are giving you data, which can be considered as big data. Why you call it as big data? What is big data actually? And what is its characteristics? When do you say that the data is big data? Why you need that? What are the types of big data? And so many examples I can say for big data. And application, you need not say. When I say examples of big data, they are applying this big data. But some challenges are still with big data. Whatever you say, there is advantage of using big data only. There is no disadvantage of using big data. And how you are analyzing this big data? What is required? We need a software. That is Hadoop we are going to say. Some case studies when we are doing the practical session, we are going to see the case studies. And we'll give you the research papers for the project you have to submit as an assignment. This is our idea. So the assignment will be on this big data research paper. Okay? With this we start explaining one by one. You can see this. All these things are taken from the websites only and integrated. The pictures are okay. See, before seeing the big data, we have to see the evolution of technology. Why this big data terminology has arisen due to the technology, advancement of technology. See, before it was telephone, now it has gone to mobile or Android mobile, what you can say. To any extent, you can generate such kind of data using the mobile. Mobile is now your heartbeat life. Without mobile, you will not go out. And we were using desktop in our periods. Now you are using, not storing everything in your desktop. You are using in cloud. Now you have drive also. Everything you are using there. Slowly we are learning now, but you people are in the 21st century. You know better than us. And also I should admit that because of this online only, we came to know many things of using this Google Meet, all those things. Actually, I took one lecture also in that I learned a lot. I should admit that. Then you can see that the car using so many sensors. Now automatic cars are there, smart cars are there. Whatever you say, these equipments are making our life smarter. That's all. Now everything I can put it in terms of smart. Rather than hard working, all those things, it is only smart. We have to behave smart nowadays. That's what technology is also doing. Okay, in that case, it is the foundation, whatever I written down is same as that of what I am talking. And you can see that the main thing is only to organize, analyze, and interpret. Interpretation is very key. Even in our research, students do the research, find the methodology, and implement on the application. But never they give the result or interpretation of it. They are lacking in that even in PhD score. Actually, that is very, very important. Only for this goal, interpretation, you are doing that project. You are doing that research. but people never understand that. So this is very important. The tool is doing all these things only for this reason. So what are the things involved in the evolution of technology? And we are going to use this machine learning, mainly data mining, based for analytics, probability, randomization, quantitative methods, and to handle the data. Here I would like to say that statisticians are using big data than the big data is not for anyone. It's not the subject of computer science, statistics, biotechnology. It's not for anyone. It's a general terminology. Big data is generated everywhere. Now people start using big data analytics. Whoever is the data scientist people are hired there to analyze the data. You are known every day in your life. You are facing the big data analytics. The result of the big data, Netflix, Amazon, Flipkart, how they are telling you all the favorites of yours, and the system also gives you how they are doing. They are only using the big data analytics. Okay. In that case, why it is gone somewhere? The last slide it is there. Right. I have so much. Next slide. I'll go fast. Okay. So you can understand very easily. It's nothing. It's only here. There is no nothing algorithm like you can make it easy. And IoT. Can you anyone say that what is IoT? What is IoT?
Internet of Things.
Internet of Things. Do you have anything now? Any communication, any transportation, anything online, anything without internet? Registration, anything? Education, anything?
No, ma'am.
Even vegetables, grocery, everything is available through internet. So everything, any physical devices are connected with internet, and it makes a life smarter. So this only makes us to go for big data analysis. Not only this, social media, huge data is generated. I need not tell you, you know what is that. Huge data is in social media every second it is involved. So internet thing, devices, I need not explain, you can see it here. What are things, the cargo, pumping station, and online. You can see all these things are connected to the internet. These things, devices produce sensors, everything produce huge data. Okay, this makes us to go for this topic, data analysis. And also it is related to social media. You can say that what is social media? Only sample is taken here. Actually, apart from this, so many social medias are available. So Instagram, Facebook, emails, tweets, YouTube, many things are there. I list out many things. I can list out. I cannot remember, but I can list out. I have the list of it. We have many things for the data. So social media, and then other factors. If you go for social media, data evolved to big data. That's what it says. Other factors you can see that, as I told you, other factors are apart from social media, Twitter. You have transactional data also. Transactional data of retailers, and you can have any purchase, any transaction of items. You have to store product ID, prices, payment information, customer information, and restaurants also using big data. They are having this pizza, Domino's, Walmart, many things are there. And apart from internet things, you have some real-time data. And machine data consists of information generated from industrial equipment. So how do you imagine how much data is available? Billions and millions of data are available. I cannot tell you how much. I had a statistics actually in 2008, but that statistics will never work out now. I deleted. I this year. In 5 years, how much data? Smart connected devices, 15 million. We create 2.5 full-time quantity learn and bytes of data every day. And you can see that this data is only for 2020. and it is 2021, it is not the statistics section. When I took the slide, it is for 2018. But now I need not put the slide also. It's wrong because so 21. 1 second. 1 second. Done yet? Yeah. Uh, where I am. You can see here. So other factors also contribute to this insurance, baseball, banking, all these contribute to big data. This all we have talked about what is the data, which is accumulated, generated due to the device IoT or other factors. Now, what we are going to see, whatever we see in the first slide, we are going to see this done. So what is the finally we come to say? Why? If you say that you, shall I ask you a question? 1 second and we'll brief further and talk. Tell me now, what is the, do you say that big data is a huge data? Or else the other way, huge data is a big data? You want to say that? Is the right way of saying? Any answer from your side? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to say huge data is big data? I'm asking you some questions. You can react. If it is wrong also, never mind.
Yes, ma'am. We can say that huge data, we are getting a lot of data.
Louder, please. Can I say?
Yes, we can say.
Please, the fish is speaking. Good to see that. Please tell me what you are talking about. What you are telling?
We can say that huge data can be a big data.
Huge data is a big data. That's what you wanted to say. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other answer from any other student?
Based on the complexity of the data.
Based on the problem. Aman is telling that based on the problem. Any other question? Is there any other answer? Any other answer? Any other answer? Okay, it's not. No, we cannot say that. Huge data is not a big data. That's why this terminology arises actually. Big data is not a huge data. As you meant it. It's not like that. Big data is not huge data only, but which grows with its growth is like the exponential speed of the data. The growth of the data is taken into consideration. Then only we can say it's the big data. Huge data can be accumulated in database management system also. That's not a big deal. But the way in which it grows, the way in which it is generated, the speed in which it is generated, the velocity in which it is generated, the huge data within a second, how much data is, and what kind of data it is, what type of data it is. It contains all kind of formats. It's a complex data, complex in nature. It cannot be processed using the traditional database management system, RDBMS, like that. So that kind of data we call it as a big data. Actually, if I want to put it straight, is the data which exists processing capacity of conventional database. That's what I can say. It should be too big, move too fast, or does not fit the structure of traditional database architecture. These three things are very important to be considered to say a data is a. It should be too big or move too fast. But the structure will not be the same as that of the structured relational table structured data. It may have structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data, video, audio, whatnot. Everything can be combined together for the processing, very difficult to process. So such kind of data, we call it as a big data, not a huge data. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It's actually a collection of large, it is given here, but I don't want to read. And that these sentences slides are only for you. I just explain the slide and keep on going. Okay, it's a collection of data sets. I can say it's a collection of data sets with so large and complex. And it is very difficult to process using whatever we have, traditional data management tools or traditional data processing applications. We cannot process. Okay, that is the reason we are going for alternative. That's what I told you. It's the next generation of data. Big data is actually a next generation of data warehousing, data and business analytics. So we have to process this efficiently for any enterprise or any concern using a advanced technology that we call it as a big data analytics. Well known for exponential growth of data, both structured and unstructured. This is the complete definition of big data. So here today we have, I do not know, I cannot mention the amount or quantity of the data available, but 90% of the data has been created for us. What is in our hand is within 2 years. As I told you, from different devices, sensors, climate information, posters, social media, digital pictures, videos, whatnot, cell phone, GPS signal. So all this data are exponentially growing. That's why we say these data as big data. Okay, what we have to do? Big data. That is called big data. Now we are talking about analytics. What is analytics? It includes capturing, curating, storing. Actually, the storing purpose plays a very important role in big data analytics. We are going to see. Searching, sharing, transferring, analyzing, visualizing, what all you are doing in database management that can be done, but efficiently storing and processing can be done, which is the most important part of the analysis. That's what we are doing. Anything you want to ask me? Shall I?
Yes, ma'am.
As I told you, the definition of big data, it has some characteristics also. You cannot just go say the big data. Big data is nothing but data which subjected to analytics, which are large and different types of data, to analyze or to infer like hidden pattern, correlation, or I can say insight of data. And then based on that decision. This picture is very important to say what is big data analytics. Okay. On the top of it, you should have the definition of big data. It has 5 characteristics: volume, velocity, variety, value, veracity. I am not going to read the sentence. It is only for you. Volume is nothing but what is the quantity of the data. Velocity is the speed at which it is generated. Variety is you are seeing it. Structured, unstructured, semi-structured, video, audio, text, Excel, whatever the format of the data, everything put together. Value, what is you are inferring from that. Veracity is, let me explain that veracity is like actually what you infer from the value. So one by one with the short period we see. volume is the data increases exponentially and how much data it is accumulated. And variety is, as I told you, different sources, MP3, video, whatever it is. Velocity is the speed in which it is produced from Twitter, Facebook, whatever. We have explained everything. Internet, speed accumulation of variety of data together with velocity. Then value, return on investment. What is the value of the data accumulated? How do you get the value of the data? That is only by using the mechanism or the tools or techniques to bring or analyze the data. Then veracity is, you can see that veracity is some sort of requirement. What I can say, veracity is after the data has values given, the data should be given to the people with complete quality. With complete quality, whatever I can say. How they can make decision using the value of the data which is produced by the big data. That is veracity. Okay? And it should be accurate to make the decision. That's what we call it as veracity. Then, as I told you already, this is the feature. The big data growth drivers are nothing but IoT automated. And this is the statistics. And as I told you, we can use three types of, we can define or we can make a definition for type of big data is structured, semi-structured, unstructured. Structured, relational database management. We are using the data per row and column, related data in a relational table that we call it as structured data, or in the Excel form you can have the data, which are called structured data, and semi-structured data is not structured and you cannot use in RDBMS. You can have this tag, all those things in a text format, in any format. It's not a formal structure of data model. Anything with a marker, their own understanding with a marker. In HTML, you have some marker, all those things, symbols, all those things, XML files, JSON documents, all those comes under semi-structure. Unstructured is unknown format. We cannot use it in our traditional thing. Okay, multimedia, audios, videos, this all comes under unstructured data. Actually, to be very frank to tell you, the data is a combination of structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. Any data given to the big data analytics should be analyzed. That analysis part is very important because it has to make consistent data to get the value out of or the insight of data. So for completion's sake, why we require big data? Because we are using in different domains, understanding and targeting the customer, understanding, optimizing business process. This is taken from the website for your completion sake. You can make it. There may be a question why big data, where big data is used. In healthcare, public care, and sports, science and research, huge. Now we started working on big data. Mr. Surya and Mr. Rajesh, PhD scholar of mine, they are using in coronavirus, big data analytics, Hadoop is used. We are already in the way the process of publishing one paper in big data analytics. Some comments have come. So we started. In our lab, we started big data analytics slowly, like that science and research, optimizing nation and improving security, improving optimization, whatnot, financial. I told you already, in all this, big data is. What are the stages of big data? Yeah. It's the same as that of what we use in computer science. It's a mantra for us actually. But here, two steps are missing. That I could see that. Here you can see that. Let me first explain what are they, then I'll say what step is missing. I could say that. Here you can say identifying the problem. Yes, of course, we'll identify the problem. Always, first computer science project is identifying the problem. What is the problem? Why you are going for the data analysis? Then, for that problem, what are the data requirements? What is the data? You have to ask the people, concerned people through interview, through offline, through online, through format, hard copy, oral discussion, interviews, whatnot. Anything, any data should be collected for the to solve the problem. Once what is the problem, you have to define the problem. Then you have to check for the data which is required for the problem to be solved. Once you get the data, you have to normalize the data and noise should be removed and duplication should be removed. One second. And you can see here pre-processing. Once the data is pre-processed, right away we are going to perform the analysis of what the data, what we have it in hand, and the results are shown in different chart form, table form, whatever the visualizer pattern you can see. This is the stages in big data. Whereas in old approach, we have first defining the data and also we have designing the data requirement. Pre-process the data will also be there. Before analysis of the data, a huge thing that is very important thing is storing the data in a particular format. That is missing here because the storing the data is not a rigid thing. We are using the software, outsourcing software to store the data, which does the job of storing the data and gives you for analysis. And then we'll go for visualization. The repository is done by other outsourcing software. People are there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
That's what we are going for big data analytics. Okay, this is the stages in big data analytics. Next one is what? Here you can see the big data analytics cycle. First, what I said is given here, nothing. Business problem definition, research. You have to do a research on it because first you have to find the problem. Whatever the people say, that will not be intact and complete problem. They may colloquially say something. You have to do the research and human resource assessment. Every form should be given to every employee to assess the what is the problem. Then data acquisition, data munching, very important. Munching is nothing but pre-processing. Data storage is not in this because it will be done by the outsourcing. Then data analysis and model, predictive model. We take some input and what is the analysis part. We make a model first to check whether the input is given the required output and anything extra it is giving, any information rather apart from what we know. If it is given, that will be taken as a predictive model, as a sample model, and modeling is done. Then we make a proper analysis, big data analysis using huge data input, which is implemented. That we call it as a big data analysis. And when you say challenges of big data, quality is very important. As I told you, it should not be messy, inconsistent, dirty data. This takes a lot of time. Discovery is a needle in a haystack. Yeah, huge data. You have to find the inside of the data. Storage, more complex problem, analytics. I know what I told you already. Security, yeah, you have to meet it. It's a very important challenge. That is authentication, restricted to access. Now you are facing in future the issue is going on. Security is the problem now. You are no more, you do not have any private life. No more private life for anyone. Once you enter name, address and Aadhaar card, that's all. Everything can be taken out. So no security is there. Whatever he say, the security is provided. I can access your system within a second. So, okay. To do all these things, I am going to ask you a question. Is there a requirement for a talented people to analyze big data? Programming people is required, or database management people is required, or any data analyst is required. What is your, from your perspective? I want to know who is doing this job, big data analytics.
Coder.
Huh?
Ma'am, one who knows programming.
I'm not getting you. Louder, please.
Ma'am, one who knows programming.
One who knows.
Yes, ma'am.
One who knows what?
Programming.
Probably you people are thinking like that. It is not very perfect answer, I should say. Programming people are always there to do it because they have the knowledge of programming. They can be anywhere. Doesn't mean that only programming people, the people who know programming can be a data scientist if they know how to use the tools and techniques and analysis part, how to pre-process the data, all those things. Tools are available without programming part of. So that's what we are going to see in the practical session. Okay? You got it? You should become a perfect data analyst. With programming, without programming also. Okay? So as we told where they are in telecommunication government, this is repeated slide. Okay. An important thing, examples of big data, Walmart, Facebook, and YouTube, Amazon. I've given the stats. Here I want to tell you one story. I read it from the website only. Walmart people, what they did is during some cyclone or storm or something like that in that area, in the country, they sold some chocolate itself. Lollipop, I forgotten. Some sort of chocolates when that storm or something was there. Why? Because they did the big analysis when some crisis is there, such kind of eating such chocolate would reduce the stress itself. This analysis they made and they sold many, they made it. That's what the story says. You cannot predict. This big data analytics will give you much information than what you are thinking. And application help. Same thing, examples is same as that of application. And I have taken some use cases. If you want, you can note it and then the assignment you can make. See, after collecting from the data, you have to, for the processing, you have to use any kind of algorithm. Data mining algorithm, machine learning algorithm, any algorithm, that's what I say, tool and technique is enough. Or else you can use your own programming to process the data. That's how it goes for the analysis. And Walmart, see what I said is here, yeah. Strawberry pop is given during hurricane. Sorry, I forgotten this thing. Hurricane, they sold extremely well this. And I see this kind of unknown things, hidden pattern. Everything will come out using this analysis. In data mining also will get and forecast everything will be done. So these are in the health care here they are using. These are the many cases, use cases of big data. Okay. This is all about just an introduction of big data. What is big data? How do you perform it? Now we'll sit just for 10 minutes. I'll not explain, but I'll tell you what are there, how the processing is done. Okay. Here, I don't think anybody will have doubts. I just told you what is there in the website. Shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to make you aware what is available, that's all. Practically, we'll see everything. Is it okay? Today's class is to make you aware of what is big data, how we are going to analyze. Shall I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Huge data is available. We cannot process this. So, what with the traditional thing? So, we need to look for a solution. We should process the data fast. Many tools are available. Open source data. It becomes a Hadoop is a very popular framework. It is based on Java programming. I'm saying that it is a framework which is mainly it supports mainly for big data analysis in terms of processing and storing the data. Okay? Here, what modules are there in Hadoop framework? Hadoop framework in the sense, we say that it is an ecosystem. Ecosystem which encompasses of many tools and techniques within it. You can use that different modules for different purpose as you like. First point. Second point is that you can add some of the tools outside of the Hadoop also. You can use it if the platform is compatible. So this Hadoop is little flexible to analyze the big data. Okay, what is Hadoop? We call it as a Hadoop ecosystem, which has got many modules or services, I can say. Hadoop, Hive, Spark, HBase, and Pig, Hive, MapReduce. Many things are there. Not everything is going to be taught in the practical session, whereas we'll select the important module services with SQL knowledge, without SQL knowledge, with the Python programming, and how to store and these important modules are going to be practiced in the practical session. So we'll proceed with the practical session. Just I'll go through what are all the modules in the Hadoop. Why? What is the problem with the traditional approach we have seen so far, and what is the evolution of Hadoop, and Hadoop, is that a solution, and these things we are going to see. And already we know that because data is unstructured, we are not using traditional, whereas Hadoop is the software or a framework. You can use it with semi-structured, unstructured, anything, text, video, audio. That is the reason we are going for Hadoop framework, where you can use each and every module separately for the analysis of big data. So what are the major things it supports big data? Storing the huge amount of data, heterogeneous data, and processing. See, only for these reasons, we are going to adopt the Hadoop framework to analyze the big data. I am repeating this sentence. You should know the difference between big data analytics, and Hadoop is only the platform in which the big data can be analyzed. Shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
This is the evolution of Hadoop. I am not going to tell you. Yahoo only first started this one. In some project they have started that one. Slowly they made it, 2 people made it. Then slowly it is given to the Google. They refined it, and finally it was out with the Google people only. The evolution of Hadoop is given. It is there in the website. If you want to know about it, you can. Yeah, what is Hadoop? Why I say that storage and processing is very important in this Hadoop? It's an open source software. It's not a tool. I can say it's a framework. Each and every technical tool are inside. Okay. So how does it work actually? It is a license under Apache V2 license Java background is there. So the languages can be used in big data analytics. Java, Python, Scala are very useful. I feel Python is very good for Java. If you know Java, you can go with Java with Hadoop because the Hadoop platform itself is Java. So you can go with Java. If not, if you know Python, better to go with Python. My research scholar Rajesh is very comfortable with Python, so he has taken the data analytics of coronavirus, the association of coronavirus with the black fungus. Okay, I don't know how far we are going to do that. Let us start. Two core components of the Hadoop. This does the job.
Software. Instead of I used to explain in the offline class, then
two components in the Hadoop.
but what today
Software
just
which are nothing but
introduction.
HDFS is to store the data, YARN is the parallel processing of it. When I say that HDFS store the data, not in a single storage like what we are storing in our desktop hard. It's not like that. Let us see the architecture. So Hadoop is a solution. Storing for storage. First point is storage. Actually, the data is not stored in one block. It's stored in different blocks. Okay, each and every block is specified, is a specific size of the block is defined so that the data will be stored in each and every block. For an example, 512 MB of data will be converted to one module, one data node. Then every node will be having the data in the sequence so that that data can be processed in their place itself instead of moving the data. So, if you divide the 4 blocks, 512, then it's 128 blocks. So, according to the amount of data, so the blocks will be used in the HDFS. That's why it uses the distributed computing. Data will be distributed somewhere, not in its own place, somewhere in the remote place also. It has a provision to bring all the data together from distributed form by using two nodes, data nodes and variables. Main node and data node. Before that, it uses the horizontal scale in the sense different kinds of nodes, not in the vertical scaling. In the sense it's not in one story. Then it can be written once and read many times. You cannot keep on changing, writing. No more writing, only reading. Accessing the data is very important point here. That is, data will not be moved to the processing unit. Rather, the processing unit will be moved to each block of data to process it separately, process it, and then merge together by a process called YARN, and then give you this. This is the main criteria. That's what it is given. Move processing data and not data to processing unit. Instead of moving data to the master node and then processing. What is the meaning of master and slave is that what you are using a server now. Server is the one system serves you whatever the query you are asking for, whatever the software you are asking for. It is distributed by the server. You people are the client, that we call it as the master-slave client architecture, where the server will give you, serve the query, whatever you are taking. Here, it's not a lab. Okay, processing is sent to each client, process it there, and finally collect it to your service. That's what it is. Okay, fine. You'll see that here. Hadoop, distributed file system. So different large type of data sets, structured and structured. And these are not known by you. What we have already discussed, you find, oh, you are MTech people, that's why you don't know what is abstraction. We in database management, we learn abstraction. Whatever you use, physical storage, whatever the programming they are using, what backend they are using, what front end you know anything, just you are accessing the data. When every information of the architecture is hidden, we say that it is an abstraction. That principle is used in the Hadoop. They hide everything. They give you only the resource to analyze it. Okay. So HDFS has two more components, that is name node and data node. Name node is very important to carry the data node. Here you can say what is name node. It contains, maintains the data node. Slave nodes are maintained here with the appropriate name. And it records the metadata. Metadata, can you say what is metadata? What is metadata?
Ma'am, it is data about the data.
Every node, different blocks are there in that HDFS. Every node has its name. So about that, it will have one node. What are the names given to different blocks and what type of nodes are created, what for it is created, what sort of, where is the location, all those things this name node will have. That we call it as a name node. And all put together, we say it is a cluster using a master-slave architecture. But since it is used in the HDFS, we are saying that HDF architecture. And next one is data node. Actually, this node is only used to store the date, where you can read the data, you cannot write the data. Okay, it is completely responsible for manipulation of the data which is already stored. Okay, based on the decision, because it acquires the information from the name node and accordingly it works. That's what it says. It sends heartbeats to the name node periodically to report over the health of the HDFS. Okay, by default this frequency is set to. This node does the job of making the blocks and clusters and reading and writing are done in this HDFS. HDFS is only to store the data in the Hadoop software. And we'll explain you these things. You need not ask anything here. We will show you how does it work, the practice. I'm just making you to aware of what is available in Hadoop platform. Yarn is the next component which has got two components, that is resource manager and node manager. This resource manager acts the same as that of the name node. It oversees the function. Okay, it should be there in the same node where the data nodes are present. This yarn is the component which processes the data. HDFS is only for storing the data in terms of block distributed system, and two nodes are taking care of storing the data by having metadata and data. But yarn is the component of Hadoop that is doing the processing. Processing of data is done by resource. Whereas it has got two components, that is resource manager and node manager. The resource manager gets the request and passes the request to the corresponding node bank. Like a server. I cannot say exactly server. Like a server, it gets the request and pass on to the node, whichever it does the job. And what is the node manager does is that every data node, which node is required, that will be installed, and it will execute the analysis, processing. It will execute the processing of each requirement. That is the node manager does the job. So yarn is the processing. Now to conclude, Hadoop having two main modules, that is HDFS and yarn. HDFS has two components, name node and data node, and yarn has two nodes, resource manager and data. And whatever I told you is given here. Okay, this resource manager allocating resources to the various running application. Application manager accept the job submission and negotiate with the node manager. That's its job. Okay. Then we have one more module, MapReduce. MapReduce is used for filtering, grouping, and sorting. Actually, we are using this component for processing, and I can say that how I can say that. It does the parallel processing, actually using some algorithm. You should know how to use MapReduce. It also do the processing one thing, but in different way. It uses a logic called key value pair. I have given that example here. It uses that what map function and sorry, I'll show you. Here you can see that map function is used to filter, grouping, and sorting. Reduce function aggregates and summarizes the result produced by the map with the use of k comma. It is given k comma v, key and value. See here, suppose there are different students are there in the department. If you want to extract the students in the respective department, you have to calculate the number of students. How many students are there in each department? So now the map program will calculate the students in each department and say that these are the key value I have produced for the students in each department and given to the reduce function. Reduce function with that key value, it takes the value from each data and gives the pair as a result. So this will be executed, and we will show you how MapReduce function. It's a module in the Hadoop. We will use it in the practical session. Spark. Spark is outside of Hadoop. You can include it in the HDFS, so Hadoop platform. We are using Spark sometimes. Alternatively, you can use whatever the module as per the requirement you can use. Actually, this is more processing speed than the MapReduce. That's why we are using this. And it uses the Scala programming. People are using. Surya, my research scholar, is using Scala. I am not aware of so much with Spark, but we are using it in our practical. We are not going to use. It is using Java. Those who know programming language can use this PIG module for execution, and also SQL. You can, if you are aware of SQL, better MSc students can do this using PIG for processing because they know SQL better. Okay, and then Hive. Hive also you should know SQL. Here Hive, we say that in Hadoop we say that it is HQL. Instead of saying SQL, we say it is HQL. Hive is the other component. That's all. So we have many things. We have some UZ, many modules are there for execution analysis. Here the modules are, let me put it generally. This is very important for storing and processing. That's why I explained this one. This is the just in glance of Hadoop, how we are going to use this Hadoop in the practical session. So here to conclude the Hadoop, I just wanted to say something. A module, the programmer, if a person is is good at programming, he can use a particular module which uses the programming canon. And if your person is good at SQL, he can use that particular module. If a person is not well versed in SQL, they can use a non-SQL module. Like that, each and every module is flexible to use from the Hadoop process. But standard thing is that HDF is used to store and process the data. That's all about the big data and Hadoop software to be implemented on. Yes. I just given an what I can say. Make you aware of these things that are available. Now the first part is important. What is big data? What is the characteristics? Why we are using? What is the use of big data? That's all we have completed. Hadoop is important. How to use the data? How to analyze it. Now, what is our plan? I think. Okay. Plan is that we'll take one example and how to install the Hadoop, how to make use of the Hadoop software to analyze it. That's what we are going to do. In that, we may include some of the module, which is very important. How do you make use of that particular module to analyze the data? That is our practical. Whatever I showed you now, that will be done in the practice. All the modules will be in detail. Practically, we'll do how for the analysis of it. Is it okay?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
May not be this class may not be in detail. I have not given you anything in detail. I have just given a glance over it. It's okay? Okay. One thing I want to tell you. You are given one internal exam. You do one thing. You go to the research papers. Your assignment. I am talking about your assignment. You have to submit it before July 5th. I am giving not July 5th. This is June, isn't it? This is June. You can give it. When you want to give the assignment, let me tell you the assignment. You tell me the date. I want you all to take the big data and application of big data analytics only in coronavirus. Students, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand what I am talking?
Yes, ma'am.
Implementation of big data analytics on coronavirus first, or association of coronavirus with black fungus, or vaccinations, or reharding immunities, or patient's mentality. Anything you can take. But how many students are there? Who is the class representative?
Ma'am, name ma'am, Arnab.
Arna.
Ma'am,
You have
16 students.
what is that, Arna?
Ma'am, 16 students are there total in all the.
16 students are there. You make 5 in a group. And what I can say that Arnav, you can have a meeting, online meeting with all the students after a week without me. Just take down the title of the research paper they are going to, because none of your assignment should be there. You are getting my point?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Too many research papers are there. Machine learning, data mining, and Hadoop. You can big data analytics application, because big data analytics uses data mining, machine learning, Mathematica, what is statistics software, all these things are using all those tools. Big data analysis has been done. Different papers are there. I need only coronavirus, related to coronavirus. Even if it is the Siddha medicine, but I want 16 different research papers. Let me say what you have to do. You have to take only one paper individual for everyone, and take the paper. What is the technique used? What is the content? What is the result they are saying? Out of the result, what is the inference? Okay? This you have to write it accordingly and submit the paper. Getting my point? Any doubt? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No.
Again, I'm repeating. You have to take the research paper completely. You have to read the paper and you have to say what is the problem. And once the problem is defined, what is the data taken, and then what is the technique has been used, whether data mining or machine learning, what technique is used to analyze the data, and then out of the analysis, what is the output, from the output, what is the inference, where it is used. All these parts are used only, you have to take up the research paper only in coronavirus related. Do you think anything that why I am asking you to do this? Any idea?
To understand the recent advances.
Yeah, that is the reason. That is the reason. Because big data analytics is not an algorithm to give just an output. It's not like that. It varies. Okay. So I want just to make it individual people should have individual. So that is the reason. The way in which you want to discuss, I do not know whether online or. But Arnab, it's your responsibility to give me the title of the paper and different problems should be.
Well,
Now
we have to select everyone, it's different set of papers, right? Different research papers.
Everyone should have different. Because
Okay.
16 paper is lot of paper in big data analysis. After seeing the literature only, I am giving you this talk.
Okay, sure.
16 papers are nothing but do one thing. Take good paper and research, it will be useful for you. Good quality paper. Okay? Elsewhere, Springer, and biomolecule math, like that journal you have to select and take it. So now tell me what is the date for submitting the assignment? Today is June 5th. Shall we have it on 25th or July 1st?
Ma'am, July 1st will be fine.
July 1st means July 1st you have to submit it. No postponement. But before that, I want one week before you have to tell me where in what stage you keep that day. I just wanted to see one table. What are the things you are going to have?
Okay, ma'am. Sure.
In the result part, what you are going to have in the result part. That table, you make it turn up and send it to everyone. All this, whatever I told you. What is the problem definition and what is the data input? What is the technique or tools made use for the analysis, and what is the output and result, and what is the inference, how it is useful for the social life, to the society. You got my point?
Yes, ma'am. Noted.
Okay, fine. Okay, then we'll meet next Wednesday. Mr. Surya will go handle the practical session for others.
Ma'am, one thing I wanted to ask you. Ma'am, can you send this material in the classroom so that we can just go through it before attending the next class?
Yeah, sure. That's it. So, Arnav is the solution. I'll say. Story for storage. Okay, fine. Arnav, listen. Actually, data is not discussed with the students, and July 19th, your exam starts, external examination starts, tentatively. Am I right? You know one thing.
Yeah.
Please. Tell me.
Yes, ma'am. You can continue. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. You make a timetable. Last time you had a timetable with you, no?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we were mailed. Timetable was mailed by the department to us.
Yeah, I know that. You take out that one and which exam you want to have in what sequence as per the student's preference.
Okay, ma'am. Sure.
You discuss with the students on an online meeting you have for the discussion. No, same day you have this discussion also.
Okay,
As per the student's preference, you make the date, subject with code, and that's all. I want that.
Okay, ma'am. Sure.
As the way, same thing in your last timetable, you prepare in the Word file. Arnab,
Okay, ma'am.
one thing. Second thing is that you have any pending labs in the previous lab, previous year, previous semester?
Yes, ma'am. We had 2 labs which were pending from last semester. One of them we are having it in this semester, like programming in C++.
See, Arnab, listen. If you complete the practical session also, don't mind, but it should be reflected in the examination, because if it is not reflected in the examination table, you may not get the paper, no? In the program committee meeting, they may not consider it. Whatever the subject there in the exam timetable need to be evaluated. Do you understand what I am talking?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you are telling that all the subjects that we are having in this
All
semester.
the subject which is left over also in the previous semester should be reflected in your timetable. That's what I want, as per your preference.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Sure.
Date and the subject and with the proper code now. Code.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay, then see you all. Thank you. Next Wednesday, we'll meet.